The most common question I get asked from potential clients who are interested in an E-2 investor visa in the United States is, how much money do I need to invest? How much do I have to spend to get this visa? I'm immigration attorney Kaylani Hawks Villafranca. Today I'm going to talk you through the answer to that question. So let's go. Okay, if you're interested in E-2 visa and you've clicked on this video, then you probably know a little bit about it. But if not, go check out my other videos. I've done a lot of videos on E-2 investor visas. How much do you need to spend? Because nobody wants to spend money they don't need to spend. If you're going to open a giant business and you know you're going to invest $300,000, do it. That's going to be probably more than enough. And we don't need to talk more about it for you. But if you're really looking to decide, I want to open my business, I don't need to invest a ton of money, but I want to invest enough to get my visa, this video is for you. So there is no minimum amount of money in the law. The law does not have a dollar figure you have to hit. That's both bad and good. It's good because it means we get to be more flexible. We can make the argument that you've invested enough based on what the law does say. It's bad because it gives a lot of discretion to the consular officials to decide when enough is enough. So how do you decide? I tell my clients that first we're going to talk about the law, then we're going to talk about reality, and then we're going to talk about your business. First, what does the law say? The law says you have to invest a substantial amount of money. What does that mean? If you're opening a new business, a substantial amount of money is the money needed to actually get your business up and running and start offering services to clients. But that is not reality, because let's talk about a service business. To get your service business up and running, all your services are virtual. Your services come from your brain or the brains of the people who work for you. You don't need that much money. You can get a services business up and running for $10,000, no problem. However, you're probably not going to win your investor visa case if you only invest that much money. Why not? Because the consular official wants to see that you have some skin in the game, that you have put your money at risk, the amount of money you've invested is reasonable, and it's likely to make you care about making the business successful. Now, I think that's a little judgmental on the part of the government. If I put $10,000 into something, I'm going to try and see that it actually works out. $10,000 is not no money. I don't want to just throw it away. You don't either. But that's not how consular officials think about these kinds of cases. So what I like to tell my clients that in my experience, and I've done many of these cases, over $100,000 almost always is going to be a decent case. That's going to be enough money. No problem. We're going to be able to win that. The only reason more than $100,000 would not be enough is if you invested $100,000, but the total investment is $700,000. Well, now your investment isn't a very meaningful part of the overall investment that was needed to get the business running. Another way that it might not be enough is if you've invested $100,000, but you actually need $1 million investment to get your particular business off the ground. Say you're building out a restaurant chain and you're going to open 6 of them and you haven't opened any of them and they all go together. They have to be open at the same time. You need a ton of money. $100,000 isn't enough to open that business. Also, I like to talk about car manufacturer. If you're going to start a new car manufacturing plant, $100,000 isn't even going to get you through the door. You can't even get your lobby up and running for that much money. There's no way you can open with that amount of investment. So that's not sufficient for that business. But if you just want to run a straightforward business that you can open with $75,000, that might be enough. So if your business is a pretty straightforward one, it doesn't require giant amounts of capital, more than $100,000 is probably going to be enough for you. I say probably because I'm an attorney. I'm never going to tell you that that's going to be enough until I've seen your particular case and I've analyzed it with you. But in my experience, those are generally strong cases. Between $50,000 and $100,000, now we really just need to look at the factors surrounding your case. What kind of business do you have? How likely is it to be successful? How good are you at presenting the case? And where are we filing? The closer we get to the 100,000 mark, the better. But I've had success with $60,000 or $70,000 without a problem. That's because the kind of business didn't demand more capital than that. I knew that we were in a consulate that would support that kind of investment, and I felt like my client could sell their business. Those things all really matter. So you have to look at your particular situation when deciding how much you're going to invest and when you feel ready to present your case. So if you are thinking about investing between $50,000 and $100,000, definitely give me a call and let's talk about it. The closer we can get to 100,000, the better I like, but I feel very comfortable filing cases 60, 75,000 if we've got a strong case. Closer to 50, I'm going to tell you, I'll do this for you, but I don't feel as strong as I would if it were a little higher. And so are you comfortable taking that risk? And you might be. I wouldn't, because I'm not a very risky person. That's why I ended up being an attorney. But you might be like, yeah, let's give it a try. If they don't approve it because the investment's too low, I'll just keep investing and we can refile again in 6 months. And that's always an option. Less than 50,000, I won't take those cases. Other attorneys might. There's no reason not to. If the client is informed about the risk of denial and you want to give it a try, there's absolutely no harm in doing so. I won't take those cases because I think it's a really uphill battle and I don't want to waste your time, your money with that kind of case. Doesn't mean you can't win, but the risk to me is too high for us to get involved and do all the work we need to do for filing. A few things to keep in mind. Your investment's probably going to be higher than you think it is. You can count my legal fees. You can count other professional fees like the people who write your business plan, your accountant, anything you've ever spent getting this business up and running, even if 2 years ago you paid to incorporate the business, but you haven't done anything since then. So your total investment's probably going to be higher than you think it is by the time we file. And there's no harm in refiling. So if the reason that your case is denied, which is unlikely to happen if you work with a good attorney and it's properly prepared, but these things always happen, somebody's going to get unlucky. But if your case is denied, you can always refile if the reason it was denied was for lack of a large investment. So things to keep in mind. The answer to the question, how much money do I need to invest to get my E-2 visa, is of course a very lawyerly, it depends. So it's really important to get good counsel, good advice to figure out your situation. But if you're thinking about it and you have at least $100,000 to invest and the business matches that amount of money and you can get it running for that much, you're probably gonna have a really strong case. Around 75, I'll totally do it. If I'm like, you can sell the case to the consulate and I can present a good case for you based on the background, the investment, and what the business is going to do. 50 to 75, a little more risky, but I'll do it if the client understands the risk. Below 50, I'd say wait until you can invest a little more money. I hope this has been helpful. Talk to you soon.